Hello, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey, and we're going to look at the daily transit, which is also the weekly transit because the Sun, Earth, just moved into the second gate on the 4th of May. So, right now we have the channel of the beat. Basically, it's linking the 14th gate, the gate of possession in great measure, in the sacral center, to the second gate, the gate of the receptive in the G center. And this channel is known as the channel of the keeper of the keys. The channel feeds the sacral power of the 14th up to the second gate with the gate of the driver, which drives our body through space. This channel is one of the tantric channels, along with the 515, 29, 46, and 3410, that potentially transforms the sacral, the sex, the life force energy into an expression of higher self through love. The 14 is the gate of the power skills, particularly in material resources, and the second gate is the gate of receptivity to the direction and purpose. Combined, they give this channel the potential to empower the direction of others. And here we have the most yin, the second gate, the receptive, the most female energy, and it's an individual channel. So therefore we have mutation, and also we have the 360, which is the format of mutation. So it's a very mutative energy right now. And the individual always empowers others by the example of what they do. And in any kind of circumstances, this person somehow knows the way, gets up and is like, if you want to follow me, you can follow me. And then off they go, regardless of whether anyone follows them. At the very moment that the mutation is ready, the pulse is on, because here we have a pulsing energy, which is on or off, or and you never know. There is no timeline for mutation. Here we have empowerment, and in purely mechanical way, it's about I'm just letting you know that what I'm going to do, and I'm gonna go this way. And if they respond, because that's generator energy, to give direction to a higher level of self. It will be constantly mutating the direction, which, if it happens in response, is the right direction. It's a mutated individual knowing of direction at the second gate. And here we can have empowerment rooted in response, and as well mutation rooted in response. So it's the individual format which can, the pulse of mutation or limitation in our life can also cause depression, because when you have so much potential for mutation and nothing happens, depression is possible. Basically, the channel of mutation is empowerment mutatively mm, through response on a pulse, on and off. That mutation can take place in between the pulse. It occurs in the unknown moment between the silence of the music, a vibration. And mutation changes without notice. Here we have an accentuation of the individual circuit, which is also can be quite a creative energy and something new can come out. Hence, it is in response, especially if you're a generator. But if you have an open sacral, which would be manifestors, reflectors, and projectors, you are now prone to act, to overdo, to be even more. There is this potential and pressure for movement and for direction and finding your way. If you have an open G center, even more looking for love and direction and trying to fix who you are and find the direction that it's actually given. It's just there in the air if your strategy and authority lead you to changing in direction or not. But there is this mutative energy in the air, and people will be hectically changing direction, wanting to mutate, wanting to change, having a lot of depression in the air. And yeah, it can be not so nice on the not self side. If you have an open root, being in a hurry to change, to mutate things, and wanting to past the limitations. We have it in the fifth line leadership, where the natural desire for expansion, when limitations are essential, creates confusion from the top. Expansive energy that cannot handle limitations, and thus pushing through, creating crisis, the darkening of the light. We have here Neptune, illusion, transcendence, the gate of crisis, the fifth line, the underground, perfected survival regardless of conditions. Immunity to crisis as both generator and survivor. A nervousness that can lead to self-betrayal, self-betraying nervousness in times of crisis. Pushing to do things, not wanting to be a leader, not wanting to wait. Expand your energy, bring crisis to the whole thing. We have the third gate in Uranus, the law and protection. Difficulty at the beginning, the gate of ordering in the second line, immaturity. The unrestrained acceptance of guidance. The unrelenting energy for growth with eventually triumph. The energy and potential for individual mutation. Internal instability which both accepts and rejects authority simultaneously. Energy and potential that is conditioned by others, leading to instability. So we have ordering this mutative energy. So there is chaos, natural chaos, which doesn't want to be disturbed, wants to be left alone, second line. And then there is this push to actually go through and not wait and just go ahead and do it. We have the 14th gate, which is in the moon. So it will be gone very soon. So right now it is a little dangerous because there is also the energy to push through and to look for that direction. And especially we have it in possession, great measure, the gate of power skills in the fourth line security, the concentration on establishing a strong foundation, protection from assault. The key to power lies in developing skills to ensure a strong foundation. And if you have the opportunity to put those resources in the right direction. And this is where we come to where the sun is and also where Uranus is for quite some time. The second gate, the receptive, the gate of direction of the self, the gate of the chauffeur, uh, so the most yin gate, uh, receptivity is the primal base through which any response is determined, the root of action, being open to put things into form, part of the civilization order. And we start with the first line, which was on the 4th of May, intuition, sensitivity to disharmony and atrophy. The importance of aesthetics, whether inborn or acquired, higher knowing through aesthetics, or the other side, the assertion of the ego in spite of wisdom, the urge for action that will ignore the wisdom of the higher self. And just wanting to have harmony in the direction and look for the most beautiful way. That's what the second gate is all about. It's the gate of the driver. The driver only pulls. It's the magnetic monopole here. It only pulls to you. So it pulls what? The correct stuff. The point is, are you in the way? Because you're the only one who can be on your own way, hindering yourself from the least resistance path with thinking about things that don't matter, trying to be certain. The second line, genius, which was yesterday, unconscious and unlearnable alignment of stimulus and response to the natural. The inner strength to focus and realize a natural gift for unlearnable knowing. Genius is madness. Knowledge exclusively as power for the enhancement of the ego. The delusion that knowledge is power. The delusion that knowing the direction gives you power, knowing the most beautiful way doesn't mean you have the energy for it. And right now we have the moon there, but the moon will very soon be gone. And this energy will stay for another few days. The second gate, and it's here activated by Uranus, the chaos, the unusualness, the innovation for quite some time. So, yeah. Knowing the direction doesn't necessarily mean you can get there. Then we have the third line today, patience, the teacher that never stops being a student. For the revolutionary, patience is a vice, higher knowing that cannot wait and demands expression. So be aware, especially at this moment, especially if you have the 8th gate, you can bring things into action pretty fast. Tomorrow, the 4th line, secretiveness. More than modesty, the ability to preserve harmony through discretion. The higher goal transcends personal acclaim. The team player acknowledged as the leader, but never the captain, where higher knowing does not have to be expressed to be recognized. And the other side, loose lips sink ships. The unquenchable fire of the ego engenders enmity. The inability to keep silent when the opportunity arises for expression. The fourth line, looking for opportunity, and when there is opportunity, it will not wait. It will seize the opportunity and express its foundation. The fourth line, remember, it's here not to question the foundation, but to express the foundation. And in a secret manner, because the higher goal transcends the personal claim, which means you will surpass any limitation to actually influence the other side. So be aware of doing that against your strategy and authority. Fifth line, intelligent application. That will be my birthday, the 9th of May. The strategist with Mercury exalted, reasoned management of resources, higher knowing as a gift for strategy. So we have here somebody who has the direction, and just because they're there, they have the direction and they have the gift for strategy, for higher knowing, for the best way for society, the most creative way. And on the other side, which can be shared with the others. So it's management of resources. The resources come from the 14th gate. And in the second gate, we know how to actually use those resources, in which direction to take, what is the correct strategy, where to invest the capital, what's the way. And here we have in the fifth line universalization. So intelligent application in what to invest the capital for the highest value, for the best, for the higher knowing, as a gift for strategy for the whole society. But then we have the other side, the inability to share responsibility or recognize the abilities of others. Higher knowing is an exclusive individual and selfish process. I know, and I'm not going to share with you because you are all idiots. The fifth line can get very ironic and even sarcastic. But that's the only way for the fifth line to survive, being sarcastic and not taking things too seriously, because life can get quite tough with all the expectations. And here we have indeed thinking that you have the direction and projecting on that you might have the direction and where to put your resources, and that can be conditioning. So strategy and authority is the only way which you would know whether it's the correct direction, the correct resources, etc. Then we have the sixth line, which is also in Uranus for quite some time, the fixation. So unable or unwilling to see the whole picture. With Mercury exalted, less negative, though the intellect becomes absorbed in constant rationalization, high knowing that is extremely narrow in its receptivity. The need for security may distort awareness to its ultimate perversion, destructiveness. The higher self absorbed with the mundane and the need for security. So you might not take a direction, although it's the correct one, because you're absorbed with the mundane and the need for security. Or constant rationalization of the intellect and higher knowing, and too narrow in the receptivity. Remember, that's the female, the most yin of lines. You see here 6 interrupted lines next to the second to the 2, the receptive. Then we have this happening grounded in the first gate, the most creative part of the channel of inspiration, design of a creative role model. But the first gate is the creative, the gate of self-expression. Creation is a primal force, the energy potential to manifest inspiration without limitation. Always changing something. Part of the mutation circuit. And here we have empowerment. Empowerment by being yourself. In the first line, we had 2 days ago, the creation is independent of will. Again, there is for the individual process, there is no timetable. You cannot tell individuality work from 9 to 6. It comes when it comes. It's a pulse. The moon exalted as a symbol of adaptation. Time is everything. Self-expression, which has its special timing. It comes when it comes. And instability leads to distortion. Here, patience is a virtue and revolution a vice. Creative instability unless there is patience. And patience will be everything for the creative expression to come out undisturbed, individual, in the right timing when it's going to be understood. Second line, love is light, symbol of beauty, the required harmony between established values and ideals that enriches inspiration, self-expression conditioned by ideals and values. Desires and passions have their place, but not at the expense of creation. Self-expression limited by desires and passions. Desires and passions can limit your creation, being creative, because you might start thinking too much strategically, looking for beauty, requiring harmony, being natural in expressing yourself, conditioned by your ideals and values. And then the third line today, the energy to sustain creative work. We have it in the detriment. Material forces can disrupt creativity and lead to over ambition. Materialism disrupts creativity. The painter who got the $1 million deal and then his creativeness is just gone suddenly. It becomes decadent, and he becomes commercialized by the money, by the materialism. So be aware of that. The fourth line, aloneness is the medium of creativity, the tension of inner light. The earth exalted as the symbol of personal perspective manifested outside of influence, where the potential magic of inspiration is diluted. Creativity that must develop outside of influence. In the fourth line, we have fatigue. So the tension of the inner light needs to stay alone. In general, the mutative, the individual process needs to stand alone so that they're not being influenced in their individuality. That's why we have the 3 gates of deafness in this stream. And we see it here in the third line, the energy to sustain creative work. The first line, creation is independent will. You cannot force it. The second line, love is light, being natural. Desires and passions can only dilute that naturalness. Materialism can dilute that creativity. Here, the tension of the inner light. So the magic of inspiration can be diluted because of influence. So creativity must develop outside of it. And then we get to the fifth line, the energy to attract society. Now we have the opposite process. It's, do I have the energy to attract society to those creative ways of expression? It's powerful ego endurance, the power and drive to stay with the creative process. And no matter the circumstance, no matter who's around. And where eccentricity can handicap endurance, eccentricity that, though attractive, will limit the drive. When you're too eccentric in your expression, people don't understand you. The individual always has this possibility to not choose the right timing or not be social enough, not be. You really need to have good communication skills to be able to explain yourself to the collective. And then we have the sixth line, which is objectivity, clear assessment of creative value, clarity in creative expression. How nice. Clarity in creative expression. So we don't have the other side right now, which will be the subjective appraisal, but we have the creative expression and clear assessment of the value of that. The sixth line being up on the roof, objective, and being a role model of what it is to be creative. Have a clear assessment of that, an expression. But still, this will not be for you if it's not according to your strategy and authority. And it's a projector channel, so it's about being invited to be the role model. And all of this, by the way, is happening. This creative self-expression, having the direction in those interesting notes, the 27, 28. The greed in the gate of caring, obsession with having much more than one needs, the psychological manifestation, obsession and tendency on knowing what is hidden, the secret policeman, the power derived in having more than one needs, whether sexually, mentally, or materially. And the other side, mundane and holy, without redeeming value, greed, a lust that inevitably cripples and addicts, the lust for power to get more than one needs. And the other, 28, the gate of risk-taking, the preponderance of the great, the gate of the game player, and in the third line, adventurism, unfounded risk-taking, a basic conservatism that even in adventurous acts is necessarily prudent, an intuitive caution in risk-taking in times of struggle. So on one hand, not being very cautious, not taking the risk, and on the other hand, a perverse manifestation of risk-taking, rationalizing it, and failure then would be, of course, ensured. Intuitive rationalizing of risk-taking in times of struggle. Taking risks about what is acceptable and what to care about, and taking risks about having more than one needs. It's about relationships. It's about the other, taking risk in the perspective of looking at the other, and on the other side, as part of mind. Through the mind. Then we have so the moon just changed to the fifth line. So it's really not going to stay long, the 214. So we have arrogance, Possession in great measure, the gate of power skills. Image dignity, innate dignity that is a key to power. To ever present risk inherent in positions of power. Okay, so let's see how arrogant I will sound by the end of this. Because I am also fifth line, so that's with harmonic with me, or more in resonance. Actually, it's resonance to me. Okay, so we have Mercury in the communication and thinking 24th gate of return, the gate of rationalization in the Ajna center. So we have it in the first line. It's about rationalizing thoughts and trying to figure the mysteries. And we have the scene of omission, transformation that requires a retrogressive period before renewal can take place. The will to triumph, and in this case, the faith that the end justifies the means. Inspiration that demands a reassessment of past thinking before a rational concept can be established. This is what people will be talking about. How no matter what we have to do it because it's what is important is the end result. And the other side, the self-delusion, which unnaturally justifies periods of retrogression. Inspiration that leads to an irrational focus on what is past. Focusing on past things, looking for the introspection, looking for a stable foundation, and communicating your own introspective point of view. And then we have the gate of extremes, the 15th gate of modesty in the first line, duty. This is where the moral values are. So moral values are in extremes, being extreme. So be aware, guys. It's an interesting transit field. Harmonic relationships, which give support for the fulfillment of any task. The capacity of the self to confront any challenge through extreme and harmonic relationships. The ability to confront any challenge without expectations. You will want to be challenging. And details, the expansive, immature energy of Mars is in the preponderance of the small, the gate of details. Second line, restraint. The innate restrictiveness and discipline to comply with and exalt restraint, the discipline necessary for detailed work. The intellect stymied by severe restraints tends to anxiety and restlessness, the expression of anxiety and restlessness when faced with detailed work. When working on the details, you can become restless. And yeah, the third gate, Jupiter, law and protection. Difficulty at the beginning, the gate of ordering. Immaturity, the second line. The unrestrained acceptance of guidance. The unrelenting energy for growth will eventually triumph. The energy and potential for individual mutation. Internal instability, which both accepts and rejects authority simultaneously. Energy and potential that is conditioned by others, leading to instability. And the last is where we're going to be limited. So in instability, natural instability, internal instability, which both accepts and rejects authority. That's also tricky. Here in part of the pulse, part of the general mutation, which we looked at. And the last one, where we're going to be limited in the family line, in the gate of friendship, the first line, mother, father. a position of inherent respect that ensures a focus that development of guidelines. For the development of guidelines, excuse me. Harmony is the key to the successful maintenance of relationships. It is only through harmony that the beauty and the values of the family can endure. Friendship that is rooted in sensitivity and ensures harmony. So when we don't follow our strategy and authority, this is why we're limited, and it's in the harmony. And what do we have the sun in? It's in the second gate, the receptive direction of the self, which is also looking for the most beautiful, harmonic, and nice way. And when this doesn't happen, you're just limited by exactly in the harmony, in the ability to be successful in maintaining the relationships in the most harmonic way. It's part of the tribal circuit here. We're talking about family and friendships, our tribal network. And of course, your harmony will always be disrupted when you're following outer authorities, when you're blindly looking right now for the right direction, and expression, wanting more and taking more risks than necessary, being arrogant at this very moment, looking for internal meaning of things, wanting to communicate those transformations that need to first regress before it can happen, being extreme, wanting to get details, put things in order and come up with something new, break the limitations, which inevitably will lead to crisis, being punished via our nicest harmony, and the chaos becoming indeed fixation and willing to see the whole picture. So that's what's in the air, and that's what's hindering you from experiencing what's correct for you. And that's only through your strategy and authority that you can get to the correct things, which will give you the correct direction of self-expression. To break through the limitations and transcend them to get your satisfaction. If you're a generator, you're surprise. If you're a reflector, success. If you're a projector, and your freedom if you're a manifestor. So beware. Watch it. And this way you will be moving on the least resistance path. That's what strategy and authority are for. This is Veronica with Human Design Journey. Like and subscribe if you want to know what's going on in the transits every week. I try to do a transit field, whether it's forecast or aftercast, like now in the middle of the week, so you can see when the second and first gate have been already for a few days, and what's to come, or in retrospective. I cannot be very regular. It comes when it comes. I'm a generator, so if I have the energy, I can do those forecasts. Otherwise, they become a past overlook of the week. But once a week, there is one. So like and subscribe to my channel, Human Design Journey. You can visit my website, Instagram, and YouTube with the same name. And I'll be back with more. You can comment to let me know if those are useful to you, so I keep on doing them. And if you wish to ask or say something else, that's also the place to do it. This is Veronica. Bye for now.